Hey, how's it going, guys? Whew. Hey, how's it going, guys? So in today's video, it's just a nice simple match of our finalists for the expanded League Cup that we had at Top Deck Keep this weekend in Riverside. Guys, do check them out. They're an awesome shop. Great guys there working behind the booth. Awesome store to go and hang out. So if you're in that area or you're passing through visiting family, I would recommend checking them out. Top Deck Keep, that's the name of the store. So yeah. So the two finalists that I had were Jake Goodman and Daniel Pirelli. Jake Goodman was running Seismitoad Sepiver, and Daniel Pirelli was running Toad Toad Necrozma. Yeah, Toad Necrozma with Wobbuffet, which was really interesting. It's not something that is seen too much play, but Daniel ended up taking this one, and it ended up winning him the finals. So we're gonna get into that match. I am gonna be commentating on this match because I've improved my setup, so now I'm able to commentate. I am gonna speed up the video just a little bit because I don't want you guys sitting there for an hour waiting for this match to end. So I am gonna speed it up just so we can get through it and shorten the time span of the video. But with that said, I am gonna commentate play by play what's going on, so you'll know what's going on based on my commentary. So yeah. So with that said, let's get into this match of finals. All right. So here we have the match between Sepiver Toad and Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet Bats Necrozma. I know I called it Toad Bats because we're so used to having Toad Bats in the format, and Toad Bats has been a thing since like day one. So I automatically thought of Toad Bats when I called this. So yeah. So they rolled for heads. It looks like Wobbuffet Bats. We're going to call it Wobbats just to make it simpler for all of us. Wobbats is going to go first. Nice little handshake before the game starts. And they're off. Toad Bats opens up with the Lele. He's searching, looking at what are some crucial things for the deck for it to go up. Just like he mentioned in the deck profile that was posted yesterday, this deck relies on certain pieces in order for it to perform. And if those pieces aren't there, the deck just doesn't perform where it needs to be. So he's looking, he's making a choice. I think he's going to go for a Bridget and then set up the bats. Yeah, and there's the bats and there's the Bridget. So he's ready to go. Great opening hand. And for those of you wondering, yes, the Lele still benefits off of this deck because it is a single energy deck, and it also runs double colorlesses, so perfect. He also Ultra Balls. I can't see what he discarded, but he Ultra Balls for Necrozma, puts it in his hand. He's more than likely going to drop that right now. Attaches an energy first and doesn't drop the Necrozma. Wants to hold on to it. The opponent drops a Burbank. He gets a laser, gets a heads off of it. So now his Wobbuffet is asleep and poisoned. He also Ultra Balled, and he's searching for a Lele. He's going to go for the Lele Juniper, which is always a good combo right there. And he plays this Juniper, goes through his deck, and he gets that Poison Barb and passes the turn. Does not attack because he didn't get the colorless. Rolls for Wobbats rolls for heads. He still gets that poison damage from. He gets an additional 2 poison damage from the Burbank, so he gets a total of 3 damage on there. So we're gonna see the Zubat evolve into a Golbat, gets 2 damage on that Seismitoad. So here's where it gets interesting. He can actually swing with Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet does a total of an extra 10 damage for every damage counter on it. So it practically doubles the damage plus an additional 10. So if he gets a D-Valley here and he gets a couple more, there's the D-Valley. He got it off of the Chorus. So he's going to be able to swing, get some damage on there. So yeah, he gets the 30 damage. He's still getting poisoned because of Burbank. So he gets poisoned just because, so he gets another 10 damage on there. His opponent used Chorus, so he's drawing 7 cards. Chorus lets you draw an extra card. Lets you draw 1 card for every Pokemon on the bench. Does not attack because he didn't get the double colorless, so he just passes. His opponent takes the poison damage, which is 40 now because the Viper's giving him an extra 10. He also Wobbuffet's also got the D Valley, so the D Valley's back out. The Burbank's gone. That Wobbuffet's gonna hit for 60 damage now. So poison damage to the Wobbuffet. Field Blowers away the D Valley. He's looking at his cards. He plays Acerola, scoops up that Seismitoad. All that hard work gone. Picks up the Toad, drops it again. That Wobbuffet dies, he gets a prize. Puts something in the Necrozma, has a DC for it. He's looking at his discard. Plays a Juniper, draws 7 cards. Drops a Golbat, 2 damage. Drops another Golbat, another 2 damage. Oh, he says, wait, let me think. Looking at the discard. Have in mind that these players are playing very strategically because they've had a very long day of games. Does 30 damage to it because of the Crobat. Goes for the Ultra Ball, searches. Gets another Crobat for next turn. So now he plays Via Seeker. He's playing the Via Seeker because he knows that Toad's going to be live. I didn't catch what he added to his hand. But opponent plays Via Seeker, plays the Chorus, suffers his hand. And he's going to draw a total of 9 cards, which is very impressive for a Chorus. Those are the type of numbers you want to hit with the Chorus. So yeah. So he's going to play, or he's making the decision. He's looking at his cards. Doesn't do anything, just passes. Draws 9 cards. There's 3 damage on that Toad. I think it has a total of 100 now. Does a Via Seeker Chorus. So he draws a total of 9 cards as well. He's looking at his hand. Ultra Ball discards an end, and I believe that was a Golbat. So gets a Crobat, does 30 damage on the Seismitoad on the bench. Via Seeker, playing the Via Seeker because he knows that any minute that Toad is going to be nice and active, and that's going to hurt him for later on. He counts the card in his deck because he doesn't want to overdraw from a Chorus and deck out. So he ends up getting the Guzma. I guess he's going to use that later on. Free Retreat with the Golbat. He's going to use Ray Light GX, I believe that's the name of the attack. Does 100 to every EX and GX Pokemon on the board. So gets a knockout on the Seismitoad and then puts a nice 100 damage on the Lele and the Toad. Opponent rolls for his Toxic Laser, gets a heads. That Necrocosm is asleep. Puts a Flowstone on the Seviper, drops the Lele, searching his deck for a supporter. He ends up getting the Acerola. More than likely he's going to play the Acerola, bounce up the Toad. There we go. Drops the Toad. Looking at his deck. Ultra Ball, discard Juniper, discard Skyla. Gets a Scrub. I think that's his name. It's the Pokemon that evolves into Drago. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. I really don't know all these Pokemon names, which I should. But yeah, it's the Pokemon that if your opponent's Pokemon is poisoned, it can't retreat. So yeah, I think that's what he's going for. He's trying to get that Necrocosmos stuck up there. But he ends up rolling, gets a tail, so it does not wake up. So it's gonna be there for a turn. But he did get the Guzma from the Via Seeker last turn. I don't think his opponent remembers that, but I don't think Daniel realizes it too because he's not doing it preemptively. So, but I think that's what he's gonna play. Yeah. So he stacks up energies on that Chapo Lele, goes for the Guzma, brings up the Lele, and he brings up his own Lele and knocks it out. I believe that's a knockout. Yeah. Via Seeker for the Guzma again. Knocks out that Lele, gets those 2 prizes. He has 2 prizes left. His opponent's at 5. Does play the Drago to get anything poisoned, doesn't go anywhere. His opponent plays Teammates, which I haven't seen many builds play Teammates, but he plays Teammates and he made very good use of it. So yeah, Teammates gets 2 cards, brings up the Toad, puts up Burbank, drops the Hypnotoxic Laser, and he gets Tails. So it's only poisoned, but he has that Toad. Toad's up and live. It's gonna hit him for 30 damage. And he's item locked, plus the poison damage, which is another, I think it's 50? Yeah, 50. So he's stacking energies on the Lele. He's looking for an out. He's gonna Guzma up the Lele, brings up Crobat, retreats with the same Lele, and then attacks for 60 damage. Via Seeker gets probably Ace Roller. Ace Roller bounces back up, brings out Toad. Toad hits for 30 damage, item locked. And we have Necrozma. Puts an energy on Necrozma, retreats, and he was going to swing with Necrozma, and that would have won him the game. Opponent shows his prizes. He did have DCE's prize. That is why he couldn't do much, and that really, really hurts this deck. Having 3 DCE's prize hurts so much. Like, you're playing with 1 DCE, plus you have to dig for it. That's very unfortunate. So Wobbuffet does get the first win out of this finals match. The opponent is going to choose to go first, so we're going to see if maybe we get a better game out of this. So they're going to set up. Guys, in the meantime, while they're setting up, I just want to talk about the changes that I made to the channel, how I'm commentating now, and this overview kind of look for the game. Guys, let me know in the comments if you like it. If you do, I'll keep doing it. If you don't, if you want me to do something different or anything like that, please let me know. I listen to all the suggestions. This was actually suggested to somebody. It was suggested by me by somebody, and I said, you know what? For you, I'll do it. No, just kidding. I was thinking of doing it, but I didn't get the motivation because no one ever said anything. Everyone said, good job, you're doing great, this and that, which honestly, thank you guys. But every once in a while, some feedback would be nice. So, yeah. So, he goes first. He gets the Hypnotoxic Laser, gets that Wobbuffet asleep and poison. He's taking damage not only from poison, but also from the Seviper and the Burbank. So, it's a total of 40 damage. He rolls for a sleep and he doesn't wake up. Wobbuffet does play the Dimension Valley, gets rid of that Burbank, attaches a Mystery Energy to the Wobbuffet. I honestly do not know what Mystery Energy does, but apparently it's in there for whatever reason. So yeah. Plays the Lilith, searches for Juniper, gonna play that Juniper, discards 2 cards, another Mystery Energy and a Wobbuffet. Gets to be a Seeker, gets back the Juniper. Sorry, not Sycamore. I'm so used to Sycamore. But yeah, so passes, takes some more damage, rolls, gets a Tails, does not wake up from that. This Sleeping Beauty isn't going anywhere. He gets the Field Blower, gets rid of the Dimension Valley. We get the Skyla. Skyla search for the deck. He's gonna look for any trainer card in his deck, add it to his hand, see what he gets. Gets Juniper. I guess he's gonna get the Juniper for next turn. Looking at his hand, and passes the turn. Rolls, gets another Tails. I think that Wobbuffet is gonna end up dying. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna make it. Plays a Golbat, goes through the deck. Drops another Zubat. Drops another Wobbuffet. Setting up that next Wobbuffet, I guess, for next turn because I think that Wobbuffet's going to make it. So, gets a Via Secret, gets a Guzma, and passes the turn. Gets the heads. That Wobbuffet's finally awake. But I think it's 1 turn too late. Ultra Ball. Drops a Switch and a Scraggle. Or Scrub, I think. So yeah, ends up retreating with Floatstone, comes in, hits it with the Seismic, the Quaking Punch. Not only does it get a knockout on the Wobbuffet, but it also item locks Wobbats. So yeah, attaches DC to Lele, has that Zubat up there, and then its ability has free retreat as long as it has no energies on it. Plays EZ, picks up the Zubat and drops the Wobbuffet, 2 damage, brings out the Wobbuffet, and passes the turn. Hypnotoxic Laser, so Poisonous Sleep again. Plays the Via Seeker, plays Juniper, gets the Burbank. Quaking Punch for 30 plus poison, rolls, gets a Tails, does not wake up, plays the Juniper, draws 7 cards, hopefully gets a good hand to get out of this poison asleep mode that he's in. Drops a Crobat, does 30 damage to the Seismitoad. Passes a turn, rolls for heads, and wakes up. Opponent plays Computer Search, drops a Skylight and a Giratina. Guess he was running the Giratina for Greninja, but Greninja and Trevenant, but we really didn't see any of that. We saw like a couple Trevenants, but they didn't make it. But yeah, so gets from the Computer Search, gets the Acerola, drops the Seismitoad again. Now Wobbats has to do all that work again. Gets that knockout on the Wobbuffet, brings up the Crobat. He's looking at his cards. Plays the D-Valley. Lelis searches deck. He's going to get a Juniper. Get a nice 7 cards. Refresh his hand. Juniper, discard. He draws 7 cards. Draws a Wobbuffet. 2 damage on that Toad. Or not a Wobbuffet, sorry. It drops a Golbat. So he's thinking. He adds an energy to Lele, does 50 damage, and then takes 20 from poison. Because that Toad does have a Poison Barb. So Poison Barb does do damage to yourself when you hit it. His opponent has a Hypnotoxic Laser. He gets a Tails. That's a Tails. Why'd you go to sleep? No. He didn't realize it. Oh well. It's too late now. Burbank. See, these are some things. Oh no, that's a head. Sorry. Looks like a Tails from here for some reason. The angle, I guess, the lighting or whatever. Okay. Sorry guys, I freaked out. I thought it was a Tails and it's something we should have caught, but we didn't. So yeah. But it's a heads now that I look at it more closely. So then sorry guys. This dice super distracted me. It doesn't really do much because he's sleeping poisoned. Looking at his hand. Plays a chorus. He's gonna draw 6 cards off this chorus, which at this point in time, looking at that deck, it's really on the low side, so you really don't want to draw too many cards off of it. So yeah, so this chorus is actually perfect because he's gonna draw. He's looking. He ends up passing, and that Crobat dies to poison. Unfortunate death for that Crobat. Poor Crobat. Didn't see that coming. Plays a Toad, drops another DC, another Poison Barb on that Toad, gets the Lele, searches for an Acerola, and that scoops it up for Wobbats. So we're going to game 3. It is now 1-1. Wobbats got the first one, and now Sepiver Toad came back and got the second one. So yeah. So this match is actually really interesting, guys. Like, I wouldn't have thought that it would go like this, but it's a good match. For those of you at home wondering what I was playing Speed Lugia. Yeah, I know, I showed up with Speed Lugia. Why did I do that? Because I have a top 16 finish and a top 8 finish for the season, so I got a good amount of points, not great points, but I just wasn't trying. I probably should have tried, but at the same time, I had fun with Speed Lugia. I got 3 wins, so that's it. So here we have Wobbats going first. He gets 2 Zubats off the bat, so that's a great start. His opponent only opens up the Sepiver. which is okay because he's not afraid of getting donked, so that's always good. Drops an Espeon, puts an energy on it, which is kind of weird because Espeon is for those other matches that evolve and then you want to de-evolve and spread damage or let the spread damage like accumulate. But for this match, it doesn't evolve, so you kind of wonder like, what is his plan? And in a bit, you're about to see what his plan was. He pretty much just ended up attacking because he wanted to start getting some good hits in fast. So his opponent plays Lele, searches for Juniper, drops the Juniper, then attaches Poison Bar to the Lele, floats onto the Sepiver, double colorless to the Toad, and then Toad does 30 damage for Quaking Punch. He does do 20 damage because of Golbat, drops a Wobbuffet, attaches a Psychic Energy to the Espeon, brings out the Espeon. Espeon does 90 damage. His opponent drops a Burbank, does Ultra Ball, searches for Lele search for Juniper, and he also had dropped a Seismitoad early in that turn. So he plays a Juniper, draws 7 fresh new cards. He gets the Hypnotoxic Laser, does get the tail, so this Espeon is not going to be asleep, but it is taking poison damage. Does a total of 70 plus the Quaking Punch. So yeah, so does 40 for the poison, 30 for the Quaking Punch, and then Wobbat here is item locked, so he won't be able to do anything besides attack, unless he drops a Crobat, does 30 damage on that Seismitoad, retreats the Espeon, brings out the Wobbuffet, and gets the knockout because it does do double the damage that it already has plus 10. So did a whopping, it already had 80 damage on there. So it's doing 90 damage. Actually, no, it had more than that, right? No, 80, 160. No, it had more than that. It had 90. So it's doing 100. So 190, which is more than enough to knock it out. Anyways, drops the Burbank. Burbank is now active. Hypnotoxic Laser gets ahead. Its Wobbuffet is asleep and poison. Gets a tail, so that Wobbuffet will not see the next turn. It will see the next turn, but it's gonna end up dying anyways. Drops another Wobbuffet. Thinking of what to play, thinking of his next move, gets a Lele, searching for a trainer. He ends up getting, never mind, he ends up getting, the suspense is killing me, guys. What did you have in mind? What did you get? Goes for the Guzma, pulls up that Seismitoad, gets that Wobbuffet out of there. That's one less prize that his opponent takes, brings out the Lele, attaches DCE, and attacks for 40. Plays the Sepiver from his hand. Acerola picks up the Toad that just was brought up, comes in swinging with the Toad, does 30 damage for the Quaking Punch. Chorus shuffles his hand. He's going to draw a whopping 9 cards, guys. Very impressive 9 cards off of Chorus. We're looking to see what happens next. Okay, so he looks at his opponent's discard pile. He's trying to strategize what the best play is because he doesn't want his opponent to recover from whatever he's thinking of. Is what I would assume. I honestly can't be in the mind of these players. So it does 20 damage to that Toad. It's now at 30. It's now at 50, sorry. Does not have a poison barb, so he won't get poisoned when he hits it. But he will be able to do some damage to this Toad. Total of 80 damage, so it'll put it at 130. Does the 80 damage, passes the turn, drops the Toad, picks up the Toad with the Acerola, drops the Poison Barb and the Toad and the DC and attacks for Quaking Punch. Does another 30 damage to it because of the Crobat. So 30 damage on the Toad. And he does 80 damage, so puts it back at 110. Switches it out. That Lele is now poisoned because of the Poison Barb. Does 30 damage, gets that knockout. Comes up with a Crobat. Draws. Even though these videos are being sped up, they're still taking their time to decide what the next move is. So you may be seeing it in like half a minute, but in reality, these decisions are taking about a minute to 2 minutes. So yeah, ends up playing the end. They shuffle their hand. They're drawing they're drawing some new cards. Wobbats is drawing 4, and Toad Sepiver is drawing an additional 4 as well. Or not an additional 4, but 4 as well. Retreats with the Crobat, brings out that Wobbuffet. Toad adds Poison Barb, does a Guzma, switches out with the Sepiver that has a Float Stone, does 30 damage to the Espeon. It's not looking good, guys. This is a tough matchup. So they're thinking, they're making a decision. Plays an AC, picks up that Espeon to protect it from him getting those 20 damage, or getting those 2 prizes. Does 30 damage to the Wobbuffet. So here, I think this was the point. So I was sitting right next to him, and I was watching this match the whole time. And I think this is where it gets interesting, guys. So yeah. So do remember, they're both at 4 prizes. He does play the D-Valley. I think that maxes out the Burbanks that have been played. I think that's been 4, so that's it. There's no more Burbanks that are coming out. So yeah. So he plays that D-Valley. And he's now trying to figure out what the next move is. Plays the end. They're going to shuffle their hands. They're going to draw 4 different cards. Plays a Mystery Energy on the Crobat, passes a turn. His opponent plays the Burbank. I was incorrect. There was another Burbank in there apparently. His opponent special charges. Throws that DCE back in the deck because he knows it's very crucial to have that DCE. 30 damage on the Wobbuffet. Passes the turn. Knocks out that Wobbuffet, gets a prize, and this is where it gets interesting, guys. Alright, so does 50 damage to the, or does 30 damage to the Seismitoad on the bench. Passes the turn. His opponent is looking for an answer. Just does the 30 damage for the Quaking Punch. So Wobbats draws. Juniper draws 7 cards. $30 damage. What's going on? I thought it was 30. I thought he pointed 30 damage. Let's go. But yeah, so 30 damage on the Toad that's on the bench. Field Blower away that Field Blower away the Poison Barb, attaches Floatstone, gets that Toad off of there. Comes over with the Crobat. Crobat does 30 damage, or drops an Oricorio. 30 damage to that Seismitoad. Plays his Computer Search, discards the Ultra Ball and the Sepiver. Searching his deck, he's gonna add something to his hand. Looks at his discard pile. I guess what he was looking for is prized. Adds something to his hand. It was a DC, retreats the Sepiver. and they both shuffle. Danny will only pick up 2 prizes now, or 2 cards, and Wobbuffet is gonna pick up 2 prizes, and Sepiver Toad is gonna pick up 3 cards, not prizes. I'm sorry. Quaking Punch for 30 damage. Does 30 damage on the Toad. We see he gets that Via Seeker. He's probably gonna hold on to it till later, so he can Acerola and pick up that Toad. I think that's what ended up happening. So Toad Sepiver is looking through his deck. He's trying to find the best card or trying to think of a strategy to get out of this mess. Plays the Acerola, pulls up that Toad, drops it again, and switches out. Wobbuffet's looking at the discard pile. I guess he's counting what his opponent has played, because if there are no more Via Seekers, he doesn't have to worry about that. So it comes up with the Crobat, does 30 damage to the Seismitoad. It does get poisoned because of the Poison Barb. So that Crobat, sadly, is no more. So this is where I had a question about ruling, because I thought like Crobat isn't attacking, he's just putting damage counters, but I was incorrect. He's attacking. Comes up with the Oricorio and does spread damage. So yeah, based on the Pokemon in the discard pile, so that's good. So it doesn't get poisoned. The Oricorio does not get poisoned, so it lives because it isn't poisoned. So Quaking Punch, 30 damage. And then his opponent will Quaking Punch, and then he does another damage. I think he's doing like 50 damage, something like that. 60 damage. I think it's 50 damage because of Oricorio. Fuelblor's Poison Bar gets the Float Stone, ends. And I don't think he got what he wanted. So I think this is it. Yep, and that is game. What an intense game, guys. Some great players here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to share the video if anybody's interested in seeing the finals match at the League Cup in Riverside this weekend. Like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.